Welcome back. You're still watching Network Africa on Channels Television. Now, President Pierre Nkurunziza has made a clarion call urging all Burundians who fled to neighboring countries due to the violence to return home now that he's been sworn in as president for the third time. The president is also calling on armed rebels who have vowed to use force to remove him from office to end violence, which has continued since he was declared the winner of July's vote. Burundi's opposition boycotted the poll, arguing along with Western powers that President Nkurunziza was violating the constitution and provisions of the Arusha peace deal that ended the 1993 to 2005 civil war between the Hutu majority and Tutsi minority. We go live to London, where African news analyst Mr. Warwick Onyema, who's been monitoring the developments in Burundi, joins us. Mr. Onyema, thank you very much for your time on Network Africa.
You're welcome, Sophia.
Thank you. Now, do you think this call is one which Burundians who have fled and those who are plotting a coup will actually heed to?
I think only the most uneducated and uninformed will attempt to return to Burundi in the present circumstances. Bodies are still being found by the wayside every day. People who've been tied up, tortured and shot. This is a common occurrence. It isn't always making the headlines, but if you search the news items, you will find evidence of it. It is unsafe in Burundi, and all the press correspondents acknowledge this and are very careful about how they proceed. I think the members of parliament and members of the press who have fled Burundi for fear of their lives are unlikely to come back immediately or until they've seen how things pan out in the country over the next few months.
Well, Mr. Onyema, should we actually buy into what the president is saying about being ready to form an inclusive unity government?
Well, if by buying into it, you mean, do we believe it? Well,
do we believe it?
I certainly don't believe it, and I'm not too sure many other people do. What you're going to see is, instead of a unity government, almost certainly increasing suppression of all voices that are against his third presidency. And I think a unity government is really out of the question. It's completely foolish at the moment.
So it's more of just talking than an action.
Well, if you listen to his presidential address at the inauguration, it consisted of a series of meaningless platitudes that were being stated really to satisfy the ears of anybody who might be listening. I don't think it's backed up by any good intentions at all.
Now, what do you think will happen in Burundi now that another weekend is here? We know what we saw happen last weekend with another prominent killing. Do you anticipate that violence might erupt again this weekend?
Well, violence has never stopped. I don't think it's going to erupt. I think it will just continue. The country is extremely unstable. There are armed opposition groups in the north of the country, particularly in Chibouke, and they are not going to die down. You're going to hear more people being killed, more shots being fired at night, and whether you'll get another prominent person being killed, I don't know, but certainly somebody's going to get killed this weekend, and probably more than one.
Well, we'll definitely be reaching out to you after the weekend and hopefully it won't be a violent one, even though it hasn't gone away. But thank you so much for your view and your input as always, Mr. Onyema. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Cynthia. Thank you very much.
Mr. Warwick Onyema, an African news analyst, speaking to us from London. Still to come on Network Africa. It's our Africa Tech segment, and we take a look at how technology is helping in the improvement of education.